What is the easiest way for you to explain what happened 4 years ago?
Well, the lack of security that day when there was intelligence that told us that something bad could happen, that the Capitol Police intelligence wing, they were warned of something bad, tragic happening that day. And then after January 6th, the Capitol Police Union chief told me, he said, we weren't, the Capitol Police officers, the rank and file Capitol Police officers, said that they weren't prepared, they weren't trained, and they weren't equipped for a riot at the Capitol. And that, to me, that's just, I mean, that's the biggest error of all of it. There were a lot of people from Fort Wayne, from Northeast Indiana, who came that day because they loved President Trump. They felt like the election in 2020 was handled wrong in a manner that was not appropriate. That lacked the constitutional boundaries of how an election should be conducted. And I agree with that point of view. There were others who felt like the election was stolen in one way or another. They came here to express their opinion in a peaceful way, and yet they got swept up in the events of the day. Now, there were people who physically damaged the Capitol, who harmed Capitol police officers, and those people should be, I've always said they should be punished to the full extent of the law. But there were a lot of people who were here that day peacefully, who came with the best intentions to express their point of view, who were punished for it.
And I had a viewer who wanted me to ask you about a tweet from 4 years ago, where you said the senators are going to get their steps in today.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that? Because I think her question implies that there was some sort of ominous foreshadowing that you were aware of.
Well, it was the way that that law was written in the late 1800s, that where the senators they walk from the Senate to the House, and then when then they walk back to the Senate for each state that's challenged. So it was an interesting. My tweet was remarking on the actual law that requires the senators to walk over to the House, and then they walk back to the Senate to debate the state that's being challenged. And at that point, early in the day, there were a number of states that were going to be challenged. By the time the riots happened, it only came down to two states that were challenged. But if that day would have played out without the riot, without the disruption, the senators would have been walking back and forth. Now I'm one of those senators. So today I will walk over to the House to open it up. The boxes will be open, the states will be called, but there won't be any challenges. My remark 4 years ago was just how wild that process, that law that should have been fixed a long time ago. I think they could have prevented what happened 4 years ago from happening. I was remarking on that process.